seeing, and then of course the folks on the Teams webinar. As we go through this, if people put questions in the chat or the comments on Facebook, we should be able to pick it up. We may not get to everything right away, but we'll try to save a little space at the end for questions and the like. But as we go through, you want to just start by kind of introducing yourself and your role here at Ashe Memorial?
Sure, sure. I would love to. Thank you again for coming out. It's so exciting to be able to talk with you a little bit. My name's Adam Yance, and I just recently moved back here. I'm originally from Wilkes County, from Millers Creek specifically, but I have been kind of abroad for almost a decade now. But I just recently moved here from Houston, Texas. I've been here about 4 months, and
Okay.
super excited to be back in the high country.
Now, where'd you live in Houston?
Downtown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were in Houston.
Yes, yes, I was.
Okay. Well, this is a little bit of a change of pace.
Right.
I've
For
dealt with the
sure.
traffic on I-10. I know it's yeah. That'll be that's can you tell me, I guess, a little bit, here compared to there, there you've got the nightclub hospital on I-10 and things like that.
Yeah.
But here you've got sort of a small town, close-knit kind of community. You know, what sort of services does a hospital like this provide to the Ashe County community?
It's pretty amazing to see that we do offer very similar services that some of those in larger cities are offering. When I first learned a little bit more about Ashe Memorial and the things that we do here, it kind of blew my mind. It's not normal for someone to be, like a critical access hospital like us to have an oncology department. Right. To be able to have some services. I pulled it up because I am relatively new, but in the same sense as just going through the plethora of things that we offer. So orthopedics, surgery, urology, Ashe Women's and Children's Health. You get cardiovascular services, rehab. We have a lab, pharmacy. We have Mount Jefferson Family Medicine, and like I said before, oncology. We have patient advocates, rehabilitative services. We have a birthing center. So just across the board, what you would see in most large hospitals, we have just the gambit of services.
And when you think about it, the drive to try to go do something like that somewhere else, that's it's going to be an hour.
Oh, yeah.
And all of that, but you can get your cancer treatment right here. I saw that center when it came in, the birthing center. I mean, there's a lot of rural hospitals that don't offer any of that.
Right.
So, is obviously that makes Ashe Memorial a very unique place, but what makes it a unique place to work, to actually work in the high country? What sort of uniqueness do you get there?
Well, I can tell you from, almost an outsider's perspective, right? I've worked all over the United States, as in some of the biggest cities in the US. And there is a special quality to be able to work at a place like this, right? The people, I can tell you, I can walk down the hall, right, as a patient, and I've heard this as a patient experience as well. And I have been a patient here as well. I use the same services that I work for, but in that sense, you can walk down the hall and get greeted by about 20 people. Right. I can tell you that in all the other places that I've ever worked, it's lucky to get anybody to even look at you.
Oh, no, they're going to put their head down.
Yeah, they're going to put their head down. They're going to look away. You try to talk to them and they're annoyed, that kind of stuff. You don't get that here. What you get is a friendly greeting, a smile, and very helpful staff. That fits the entire vibe of what is Ashe County, what is Jefferson, North Carolina. Because in that sense, you have people that care for each other in the community. You have neighbors that are going to be here, the ones taking care of you when you're having some of the most difficult times. And as a person who works here, you get the opportunity to be able to assist your neighbors. You're going to see people that were your patients. And because of that, because it's such a small town, you do see those people and you want to let them know that you care and you're going to work hard. And not only if you're also a coworker of that person or however overlooks is that you genuinely are bettering this community and by helping your fellow man. It's pretty awesome.
Well, you talk about the hospital's culture in general as being, open and friendly.
Yeah.
And a lot of places these days are really kind of trying to get their values, the messaging for their values out there. What are Ash Memorial's values? Is there like a value statement or?
Yes. Every place does have kind of a general mission statement.
Mm,
And so our general mission is to promote teamwork, dedication, caring, listening, service, and concern for the well-being of our patients, our staff, and our visitors. We have been serving the healthcare needs of Ashe County since 1941. Our mission is to meet the needs of the community by delivering patient-centered, high-quality healthcare.
so prior to 1941,
Mhm.
were there just like local hospitals or smaller places, or I mean, has there always been sort of a presence here, or is it just that the population got big enough? Do you?
I can, say that a lot of the times in these small mountain communities, there were just providers, right? So you
Right.
have a doctor in the area and they would be providing the services, but they had to travel to be able to get any significant medical care. And I can say just from living in the community in the past that you had these, few doctors that came in to these small communities and said, hey, let's do something bigger. Let's do something better. Let's be able to provide the services because lots of people couldn't get the medical care that they needed and they died. So Ash Memorial was able to see that as a sense of um, bettering the community by providing those services so they didn't have to come off the mountain, especially during times like the winter or if there's any significant medical stuff, like when the hurricane hit, people were completely cut off, right, from other communities. They couldn't get anywhere. And if we didn't have this hospital and we didn't have the staff that we did that wanted to provide the service, some people would have never gotten assistance and may have passed away because of it.
Well, with that kind of feeds into when we're talking about the actual opportunities, sort of the reason for the season, right? But in those previous days where you had a single provider, I guess people just showed up on the doctor's porch and that was kind of how they did it. Today, with a facility like this, you have to keep this staffed, like with a lot of folks, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah. So roughly our staff number, it goes back and forth, but close to 400 people.
400. Wow. Oh, so this is a pretty, I mean, one of the top employers in Ashe County.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. What positions? I mean, as long as we're there, what
Sure.
positions are currently most in demand right now?
So any healthcare, right?
Mhm.
Nursing, right? We're always going to need nurses because they provide so a plethora of care from different venues. So I can say that number one, anybody out there listening, if you're an RN, give me a call, right? In that situation, but some of our more specialties are the ones that are harder to find in a community that is smaller or outside of a city environment. So our OB nurses, right?
Right.
Being able to have specific care because we do have a birthing center and we need that. Surgical service nursing is another one. ER nursing, as we have some of that as well. But we also have some, and I pulled it up on our website because straight from our website you can go and click on careers and you can see all of the list of the current job openings. But director of imaging. We also have some of our service fields, EVS workers, cooks, potential maintenance staff members as well. Medical assistants, that's another thing that could be needed. Radiology, we could admitting clerks and there's a staff pharmacist position for a PRN, which is kind of an as-needed position. Work on the floor as a house supervisor, if you were an RN there, and laboratory technicians. And it kind of, so we have a plethora of jobs, for different specialties that are out there. But really, the core of what we're looking for specifically is that nursing, in a couple of different venues.
So, if you were, and we're going to get to the nursing in 1 second, but if you were someone who was either fresh out of school or, maybe they're mid career and they're looking to get into healthcare, what would the new positions kind of be that, like, what would be the positions for a person new to healthcare to join into?
Yeah. Well, I can say that we have a new grad program. We work really closely with a lot of the universities here. So we try to reach out to them before they are even out of school, to be able to provide resources and support. We actually even go even a step further, and we're working with high school students doing stuff like Club Med, where in um, it's in the summer, right? And so I'm still learning a little bit about these services, but in the summer, we're actually bringing in some of our high school students to give them some opportunities to see what it's like to work in a healthcare setting. And we're working closely with places, with different recruiting sources. We're working closely with like NCWorks, to be able to get those new grads or people that are about to graduate. And so we put them in a new grad program where we give them a lot of opportunities to see varying sources. So if they were a nurse, for instance, they could do a rotation, in our labor and delivery. They could do a rotation in our ER. They can see kind of what those things are and get to experience what that's like and get some firsthand experience, which you don't always get in nursing school, in that sense. Yeah.
Well, our hope, when we do this too, is that folks, whether they're, in Ashe or Wilkes County or Avery County, or even outside the state, if they see this, um, especially coming from a big city, like, how would you, what would, what would be your main point of promotion for someone that hasn't seen how amazing it is to live in a place like this? Like,
Well, one thing,
like, how do you recruit that in?
right. One thing I'd like to direct you to is not only, some of the video that you're sharing there is just the amazing views. But if you go to our website, you can kind of see what it's like, the things that we do in our community. Our community is small, but the things that we offer is much bigger than a lot of people realize. There's a strong community presence here, and so we take pride in being able to have, the festivals that we have. There is such a huge music scene here, a huge art scene. If you like hiking. Right. This is one of the greatest places in the entire world to live. Just because of the availability to do that. I literally can leave here and be on a hiking trail in 5 minutes, right? And so if you like that lifestyle, if you like hunting, fishing, anything outdoors, this is your place to live. And also being from somebody that lives in some pretty big cities and constantly in traffic, I can leave my house and be here in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Which I don't think I could get in my car, when I was in Houston for that. So it's a lifestyle. If you want to live a life that is a lot less frustrating, a lot less stressful, and the same for working here. There's this laid back attitude, not towards medical care, but this laid back attitude. It's like we live in a peaceful place and there's not the threats that you see in other cities and stuff. You're not worried. You don't have armed guards that are standing there waiting to prevent somebody from coming in and shooting up the space, because that stuff doesn't really happen in a community like this as often as you would see it in a bigger city. So it takes a lot of that pressure off. Not everybody's running around and doing 10 billion things at once. And it just, for myself, I know it's created a sense of peace that I haven't been able to find anywhere else.
Well, you're 5 minutes from the world's greatest fried cheese curds.
That is true.
So I mean, there's that. But I mean, also too, in terms of you've got major grocery chains, all around here,
Yeah.
your Ingles, your Food Lion, your Lowe's, all of those grocery stores offer stuff that, you know, you can't find even in big cities
Right.
sometimes. So I mean, that part, when I first moved here, being able to have access to all of I'm originally from Cincinnati, and having access to all my food from Cincinnati at the local Ingles, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. But then it was also at Lowe's and Publix and make sure I get everybody here. But Food Line and all that. It
Yeah.
was all around. And so, I was really surprised just coming here from a big city where I was in Houston, I was in the energy corridor. I lived 2 miles from my work, and it took me 30 minutes to get to work.
Right.
And I mean, you couldn't walk in the summer, so
Yeah.
you know, and it's like when you come to a place like this, it is absolutely amazing, how much stress just immediately goes away. And, your traffic jam, your new traffic jam is 3 or 4 cars at a stop sign.
Right.
It's just completely different. But, having talked a little bit about that, when folks come into Ash Memorial, is there, we talked a little bit about, Club Med with the high school program, but are there any other kind of tuition assistance, training, certification support that Ash Memorial provides for its employees?
Sure. We do offer education assistance, and we have had a lot of staff members that have taken that. So, for instance, I'll give kind of a life cycle of that is we may bring somebody in that already has their CNA, right? But they decide they want to become an LVN. So we've been able to work with them, to be able to provide some extra assistance while they're paying for that education. And then we recently had someone that got that certification, loved it, and they were like, I'm going to go back and get my RN.
Mm.
And so what that does is it provides resources to us too. We need those things. So why not invest in our employees? Right. So we want to be able to bring you in however you are and build you to the place where you want to be. And that creates a strong environment, that is based on education and support. We do offer free training that's in here. So we provide, the basic trainings that's required for the job. However, if there wants to be more specialty in that, we have been able to connect people with resources to be able to get that specialty education. So across the board, education is really important to us, and we want to be able to provide that to our staff members because that's going to better our care for our community.
Does that translate into some mobility in-house for employees to grow and move into new roles
Of
or
course. Yeah.
lateral roles, things like that?
Yeah, for somebody, I've been in healthcare a really long time, and I can tell you I started at the bottom and worked my way up. And that's the kind of mentality that we want to have here as well. So it depends on however you come in. We want to support you to get you to meet your goals that you have set for yourself. So if that means bettering your education and jumping into a new role, that's what we want to do. We always look internal first.
Well, we've talked, quite a bit about community culture opportunity in general, but say someone's right there at the line and they're ready to commit. What should applicants expect during the application and interview process here at Ashe?
Sure, sure. We thrive ourselves in trying to get, and we're kind of revamping this a little bit. But since I've been in, one of the things I'm trying to do is make sure that we're communicating really quickly. My goal, right, is always is to communicate. If you put in an application, I want us, whether or not we want to move forward with an interview or any of that, we want to connect with you within 48 hours to let you know. And so that would kind of be the process that I'm looking for is that we communicate with you. We try to set up a time when it works for our hiring managers and our the future employee. We set up an interview process, and then after that, we will communicate back with you and let you know kind of what next steps are. If you are selected to be able to join our team, then what we would do is set up a pre-employment with one of the HR staff members to be able to provide. Just everything that you need to be able to get started. And then we set up your orientation after that. So if you do, Cheryl Lee is the person that you'll be speaking with, and she's fantastic. So very, very personable and very quick to respond.
And if you're an applicant in a situation like that, one of the things that you want to be doing is being communicative too, because I mean, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
And we see this a lot, for folks that know and the folks that don't know. It's not necessarily custom for an employer to get right back to someone within 48 hours. So that's pretty good. But then it becomes incumbent upon the applicant also to make sure that they're staying on the ball there too. What helps a candidate stand out to your hiring team?
Sure. So one of the things is that being communicative, being, open and available to be able to do that. I know a lot of the times when you're looking for another job, you may still currently have another job. So being able to work with us on that, and that's really all that we're looking for when it comes to the process. What makes them stand out, when it comes to your resumes. A lot of the times in the world that we live in, resumes are pretty the same. You see a million of them come through, but what stands out is specialties. And I even said this to our high school students when we met with them not too long ago to kind of do a small introduction to the workforce. But any kind of specialties that you have, put those on your resume so we can see that, these are the things that you're excited about doing, right? So we can be able to see if it's going to be a good fit.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So then let's get into some of the nitty gritty, I guess.
Yeah.
Pay, benefits, and work-life balance. What can you share about benefits, scheduling flexibility, employee wellness initiatives? I mean, we've got Mountain Hearts that we've taken a look at, and I did mention at the beginning that employees get half off on their health club membership that way. But what other benefits, wellness type initiatives do you do?
Sure. We provide all of your major benefits. Any larger company that is going to provide healthcare, dental, medical. We do provide all of those services. Currently, we work really closely with our medical benefits to make sure that we're providing the most comprehensive care that we can. We work collaboratively as a hospital too. So if you're using our services, it's going to be that much better for you in that process. But I can say, we use major carriers like Delta Dental, Mutual of Omaha for some of our other benefits when it comes to life insurance or some of those ancillary benefits that we offer. We do vision care as well. So just across the board, those benefits. When it comes to work-life balance, right? That is one thing that we're really focusing on or have been over the last several months is trying to make sure that people know it's okay to take time, right? We need those things to be able to do that. You need to take a meal break. You need to take, a 15-minute break or so from time to time. You need to, when you are leaving here, right, to turn off work you and turn on family you or whatever, you have going on for you. It's incredibly important. It goes back to that old thing. If you don't put on your oxygen mask, in an airplane, you're not going to be able to put, help anybody else in that sense. So we do things like, I don't know if you saw, we have, what is our massage chair that we have, right?
Tranquility.
Yeah, the Tranquility Suite. So in that sense, we give that as an option. If you're taking your break, be able to do some self-care. Shirley, she's a therapist by trade. And so one of the things that she's been really helping us in is making sure that people are understanding of what self-care is. We do offer EAP services, employee assistance programs. So we can get discounted rates on therapy sessions and those kind of things to be able to help you be as happy as you possibly can.
And I mean, just to let folks know, on the Tranquility Room, it's basically a space that individual can go in. There's a massage chair. There's a full functioning multimedia entertainment center. There's yoga mats. There's all sorts of different things to kind of help someone recenter and go about their day. But then down the hall, it looked like a pretty nice cafeteria.
Yeah, I eat there every day, and most of the staff do. I mean, it's fantastic food that provide that. You get discounted rates as being an employee to be able to do that, and you can get your meals here. So you can get all the things, a lot of times, in office jobs specifically, you work and you forget to eat and all this other stuff. That's a constant reminder that's like, yeah, you need to take care of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. So we talked a little bit about that, and of course, we've spent a good deal of time so far, and I definitely want to get to any questions if there are any out there. I'm not seeing any yet, so that's good, or not good, depending on how you look at it. But a couple of questions. Uh, so folks that are seeing today's session, whether it's today or, the recording that they see in the future, what's their next best step if they're interested? They go to the website.
That's one of the first steps, but
Okay.
we're doing some different things with recruiting now. So you don't just always have to go firsthand to our website. There are other places where you can see our jobs. So one of the biggest one recently is through LinkedIn. We're partnering with them to be able to get our jobs posted out there, get some sponsored ads. So if you're already on LinkedIn, you're just kind of looking at what your friends are doing in some of the business sector, then you can just type in Ashe Memorial Hospital and you can go and check out our jobs that are opening from there. Also, you can go on Indeed. You can do quick apply there to where you can apply for our positions. And also traditionally, you can go to our website. If you have any questions, you can feel free to call the hospital as well, and they'll direct you to somebody in HR that can help get you where you need to be.
Well, I always ask sort of a mechanics question in one of these, and that would be, I guess, a good jumping off point. Is there, for candidates out there, is there much difference in terms of if they apply on LinkedIn, if they apply on Indeed, if they apply on the website, is there a variation, or are they all kind of going to the same pot, or
They
how
all
does that
funnel
work?
to the same place.
Okay.
Right. So we're trying to be where people are, right?
Mhm.
We've even posted our jobs on Facebook accounts and Instagram, just across the board so people are aware that we have these positions. So with that, it doesn't matter where you're applying, we're going to still see you in the same way. And it's taken by, what order they come.
Well, let me ask you this one other follow-up on that,
Sure.
because it's, we see it less and less. Is there a place for a person to go and fill out a paper application?
At this time, I do not feel that we have a paper application opportunity. However, people have came and they've requested to talk to somebody in HR. And so one of the HR staff was more than happy to come out and speak with somebody and then we can show you through the process.
Okay. So, if you need help with your resume, if you need assistance, you can always come to the NCWorks Career Centers, and then you can also,
Yeah.
show up in person, which we don't see that much of anymore, but every once in a while, and it's still a thing that folks are interested in. It's changed an awful lot, obviously, and I would say that 99.9 positions are almost entirely, online, that we can track. I don't have an actual figure, so don't hold me to that. But is there, in the case of either, you've submitted online or you're showing up in person, is there a specific contact or HR, page attendee, that folks should visit?
So for just communicating or requesting, so a lot of those venues that I told you about does have a message feature
Mhm.
where you can message back if you have a question about that. So you're more than welcome to do that, or you can call us. When you reach our switchboard here at the hospital, that actually are my staff members as well. So they're more than happy to be able to provide assistance and get you to the right place or the right person to speak with.
Okay. Well, is there anything else that folks out there should know? And then we'll turn it over to the Q&A if there are any.
Sure. This is a wonderful place to work. I can say, just from my travels and all this other stuff, I've worked in some amazing places. But I can say that there is something special about working at Ash Memorial than I've ever seen in another facility. So I really do appreciate the ability to kind of speak and advocate for them because you have a lot of people that work really, really hard to be able to provide resources and support healthcare for people of this community, and it's really amazing to see on a daily basis.
Well, the community at large, is being nestled in these mountains,
Yeah.
and you've got Jefferson, and then you've got West Jefferson. So you've got two, quaint, interesting towns with a lot of different things to see and do. Um, there's an awful lot to draw folks here, but locally, folks coming through the center, we will try to highlight these opportunities as they come up. Are there maybe four roles that we want to leave with that are just like absolutely like the ones you should be checking out now if you're out there and you catch this
Sure.
video?
Our OB/RN.
Okay,
Um,
OBRN.
Yes, that's one of the ones that's pretty critical right now. Our surgical services, just as a general, to be able to either in the RN position or in tech position, those are pretty critical right now. And just overall in our ED.
Okay. Um, and I'm assuming that all of these require some education or experience
Yes,
background.
yes, all of those positions do. But we do have positions that do not require licensure.
What would be the position that I should apply for if I don't have any background, but I just want to get my foot in the door in healthcare?
Sure. So we have or have had some receptionist positions.
Okay.
So patient access positions, EVS, which is environmental services, and maintenance technician positions. All of those would not require.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,